I finally took the FISHR out. I got the FISHR from Pyramyd Air. It's the Umarex FISHR. It is an air gun, like, I don't know how to properly describe it to you. It is a air gun fishing device that you actually get to shoot the fish with. So last year I did some bow fishing, and that is cool, but I have to say this FISHR totally ruined me because the force that you go at the water at with this arrow is so fun. And not only that, it feels even more like you're hunting fish. I'm telling you, that arrow comes out so fast, it's ridiculous, and you can actually hear it, which I was surprised with how loud it is in a good way. It's literally like going out to the range, but you're in your boat and you get to shoot fish. Now, the day that I did go out, it was quite difficult. I didn't get any videos of how windy it was because it was literally that windy that I was controlling the boat nonstop and trying to shoot a carp. I did have a bunch of carp swim in front of my boat at pretty low levels. Like, I would say they were about 60 feet deep, which is going to be hard for me to get with my first experience using it. Now, I will say the closest I ever got was one fish in particular was swimming under the boat at about like 50 feet, this particular one. And I sent it, and I'm aiming for the refraction and all of that, and I sent the arrow, and it went just right behind the fork in his tail. So like barely missed that one. That one I would have had to aim a little more to the left. He was swimming to the left, and I would have needed to lead him on a little more. But as always, it's a new thing for me, so it's a learning curve. They were really, really deep. Now, as the water and the days get warmer and the weather gets better at Lake Powell, you'll typically see them literally right below the surface on the canyon walls. So that's what I was looking for. They weren't doing that. It was just too windy. I was constantly fighting the wind. My trolling motor could not keep up. So I was having to keep my motor on, let my boat drift. The wind was blowing me towards the rocks. So I would let my boat drift as close to the rocks as I could stomach, and then I'd have to run and reverse it away from the rocks. The current and the wind was just too strong. During when I took some of these videos for YouTube and all that, the wind was starting to lie down. But at that point, it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 97 degrees. And if I had to get out of there for this day trip that I did, I needed to get out of there. So overall, sickest experience, the coolest first impression. Like, I carried this to the boat marina and out of the boat marina with pride, and everyone was asking me about it. And I just have to say, like, don't get me wrong, bow fishing with archery equipment is super fun. The amount of times you can shoot so quickly and so accurately with this is insane. Now, I probably took 15 to 20 shots at really deep carp. That was a total long shot, but I couldn't get them to come closer to the surface, so I was still going to try. And I'm not kidding you, with those 15, 20 shots, it doesn't even look like my needle on how filled this air gun is even moved at all. So I was highly impressed with that. They say you can get 60-something shots with a full tank, and after taking it out there and doing the shooting, I absolutely believe it. So I got this sick little air compressor that I'm going to show you guys. This air compressor, I'm going to use it to top it off again, and I'm going to take it back out probably here in just a couple days, and I'm going to watch the weather. I got held up on my way to Lake Powell with some crazy circumstances, so I wasn't able to get out there until pretty late. But I have the air compressor all set up and figured out. I will say, I'll show you guys here. When I just read the directions, I had the inside of the air compressor on the wrong setting. So when you read the directions, if you get a compressor like this, just make sure that you have it set on the 110 setting if you're going to plug it in. It also can be plugged into a battery. Then you'll want to break it down, rip it open, and set it to the proper setting for the battery. Once I got it going, I also want to say that I learned that you have to cock back this FISHR, and then the air will go and it will fill up. Otherwise, it'll come through the front of the air gun. So I'm just mentioning these things because these are little things I'm learning as I'm going. But overall, I am so stoked on this air gun. Like, this is one of the coolest things I have ever owned. I have no doubt that I'm going to annihilate the fish when the conditions are a little bit better. And I'm going to go back there in a couple days and give it a go. And if I can find some carp by the surface, I'm going to annihilate them. Unfortunately, there are tons of carp. I'm talking thousands by the surface at the marina, but you have to read the Utah regulations. I was doing this in the state of Utah. You have to be, I'm quoting it, so I'll probably get it wrong. Read up on the regulations, but you have to be roughly a half a mile away from any marina or structure or like dock restrooms or anything like that. So I went 20 miles deep into Lake Powell, way into a tucked in canyon, a little slot canyon, thinking I'd be getting out of the wind. The wind was still ripping in there. So conditions were quite tough. Overall, though, I have to say this was absolutely the coolest experience. Highly recommend getting yourself a FISHR. I got mine from Pyramyd Air. You guys can check it out. They're super affordable. And stay tuned for the next video. There's going to be some carp that are going to die.